rumor has it Kaulig and Ram are interested in entering Tony Stewart into a Truck Series race next season. What does Chris Rice have to say about that? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Hope you're doing well. The off-season is the perfect place for rumors to grow, to spread, to fester, the way mold grows in a dark, damp place. More on that in just a moment. First, some actual news this week. Kyle Busch is returning to Five Flag Speedway. Next month, he will participate in the Snowball Derby the first week of December. Kyle Busch is a two-time Snowball Derby winner, most recently 2017. His most recent Snowball start was 2020. Saw in the press release that Danny Stockman will be his crew chief this year. Jesse Love's Xfinity Series crew chief, so Busch, Stockman should be a dynamic duo. It's a fun race to watch, one that I'm always sure to tune into. The action is great, but more importantly, the competition is great. So many great young drivers that have gotten into NASCAR came through the Snowball Derby or won the Snowball Derby. Like, look at the past 10, 15 Snowball winners. Chase Elliott's got a couple of trophies. I believe he still holds the record for youngest Snowball Derby winner ever. Eric Jones went back-to-back, and if I recall, the story goes that the 2012 victory helped him get discovered by Kyle Busch Toyota, eventually got into a KBM truck, jump-started his NASCAR career. John Hunter Nemechek, Christian Eckes won this race 9 years ago. That's crazy. Noah Gragson, Truck Series champion. Ty Majeski has won this a couple of times. Last year, Caden Honeycutt. He followed up his Snowball Derby win with, you could say, a breakout 2025 Craftsman Truck Series season, making the championship four and leveraging that success into what sounds like a pretty good opportunity, likely at Tricon next season. So it's the who's who. Many of the best young talents in NASCAR have won the Snowball Derby. Kyle Busch, he's no spring chicken, but he's back to do battle in Pensacola. December 7th, I think, is the main event. I think it's the whole week leading up to it. Anyway, looking forward to it. Cool news there. Now, like I said, the off season is a great time to talk about rumors. I don't know where this latest rumor originated, but I have seen plenty of chatter online. The rumor is that Ram is looking to sign some old school Dodge drivers to potentially make select Craftsman Truck Series starts in 2026. Two of the most notable names that have been mentioned are Kasey Kahne, who drove some of his best years early in his Cup career with Dodge, with Evernham, and Tony Stewart, who now races Dodges with his drag racing team. Kahne, Stewart, wow. Now, I wasn't planning to talk about these rumors because, well, one, I didn't have a whole lot of inside info or insight to add. But more importantly, two, it would have felt, I don't know, kind of clickbaity to throw out Tony and Casey's name like that without any firm details or notable developments. But we are talking about these rumors today because shout out to Mike Bagley, Pete Pistone, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Kaulig Racing president Chris Rice made his somewhat weekly SiriusXM appearance earlier today, and the two hosts asked Chris Rice about these Stewart and Kasey Kahne rumors directly.
We do not have a contract with either one of those guys. Do we have conversation about those guys? Absolutely. Do we have conversation about everybody that drove a Dodge car? Absolutely, guys. So you can put in there every single person that's been in a Dodge car, right?
Yes, so Chris Rice admits that they have talked internally about Kahne, Stewart, and apparently others. He goes on, I'll read the full quote. Chris Rice says, "If it's available, we would love for anyone to drive a truck that would like to that's driven a Dodge car before. But there's no contracts with us that they're going to drive anything yet. As of right now, they do not have a contract with us." End quote. The yet and the as of right now are raising my eyebrows considerably. Now keep in mind, y'all, while I'm a big Chris Rice fan, I think we need to take anything he says publicly with a pinch of salt. Remember, after that Las Vegas incident a few weeks ago, Chris Rice went on the radio and said, hey, it's not the 10 team's fault. I'm not blaming any of our guys. Hours later, the spotter was fired. So keep that in mind. But that being said, the way Chris Rice framed that answer there, the door is open. That's all I'll say. I have no personal insight or intel on this, but the way he made that sound, yeah, there is a chance we could see a Kasey Kahne or a Tony Stewart type race a truck in the near future. I mean, Kasey Kahne ran an Xfinity car less than a year ago for RCR at Rockingham and seemed to enjoy it. I don't think it's crazy to suggest Kasey Kahne could come back and run a one-off Truck Series event in the new year. Absolutely. The Tony Stewart tie-in is more intriguing to me. Tony Stewart, of course, his drag racing team, they're affiliated with Dodge. That's the connection. But Tony Stewart hasn't raced a truck in 20 years, and he hasn't raced anything in NASCAR in almost 10 years, not since 2016. And last year, of course, Tony Stewart somewhat unceremoniously bowed out of NASCAR team ownership altogether. So my question simply is, why would Tony Stewart do a one-off or select Craftsman Truck Series races? Seriously, I mean, the only answers I could come up with are maybe he still has that itch. Tony Stewart is a racer through and through, is still active today. He's not afraid of a challenge. Not being in a stock car in 10 years, I don't think that phases Tony Stewart. So maybe it's simply, hey, Tony Stewart wants to show them kids that Unc still got it. Maybe that is driving him. I'd respect it. Or maybe Kaulig and or Ram are making Tony an offer that's difficult to refuse. But I asked the question, why would Tony race in NASCAR at age 54? Like, in the years before Stewart-Haas dissolved, Tony Stewart felt somewhat disconnected from NASCAR. He wasn't super engaged. He was hands-off, more or less letting the ship run itself. Then he pulled the plug on the whole thing, sold his stake of Stewart-Haas, sold his charters, and focused instead on his family and his drag racing efforts. And this happened last year. Not all that long ago. And remember, Tony Stewart had some not so nice things to say about NASCAR as he walked out the door. We talked about this earlier in the year, but Stewart was on the Barstool Rubbins Racing podcast, and some strong comments from Tony Stewart, again, just a few months ago. So yeah, I'm a little surprised there's even a remote chance Tony Stewart, after almost a decade away, would consider running a NASCAR race. Sure, it would probably be a one-off. He's just the driver. It's low commitment. It would look great probably for Ram, for Dodge, and fans would absolutely eat that up. And I remember a few years ago, there were rumors that Stewart was considering a one-off Xfinity Series start, I think at Indianapolis, but I believe that was the pandemic season. COVID hits, limited people at the track, no fans in the stands, and unfortunately that deal fell apart. Maybe Tony Stewart does still have that itch and wants to scratch it. Again, it's still just rumors. I don't think anything's a done deal, but Chris Rice there acknowledged that, hey, Kaulig, Ram, they're open to a Tony Stewart NASCAR partnership. I would love to see it happen. I'd love to see Tony Stewart run a Craftsman Truck Series race, and I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling that way. It would be awesome. I think Tony Stewart's driving skill doesn't get the credit it deserves. See, when we think back to Tony Stewart's time in NASCAR, we remember the snarky interviews, the temper, we remember the helmet throw and so on. But when we have the conversation of who's the best American driver ever, or who's the most versatile driver in the world, we think of Mario Andretti first, Daytona 500, Indy 500, F1 winner, could do it all. We remember Mario Andretti from generations ago. And then in the modern day, we often talk about Kyle Larson, Chili Bowl, Knoxville, NASCAR champion, open wheel efforts. But smack dab in the middle of those two generations would be Tony Stewart. From dirt to pavement, open wheel to stock car racing, Tony's won in everything. 3-time Cup Series champion in multiple formats. And the fact that, 54 years old? The fact that he's still going, still challenging himself. He's an NHRA winner now, for goodness sake. Tony Stewart has to be on that Mount Rushmore of most versatile drivers, and depending on how you view the competition, different generations, maybe you could make the argument his name should be at the top. That's for you all to decide. But yeah, I would love to see Tony Stewart, Kasey Kahne make another one-off Craftsman Truck Series start. Is it realistic? Maybe. Chris Rice could have denied those rumors, but he didn't. Instead, he used words like, oh, we don't have a deal yet. As of right now, nothing is happening. Well, what about tomorrow? What about next week? What about next season? I don't care about right now. There's not a race going on right now. They may not have a deal done yet, but it certainly sounds like a deal is possible. I think that's the only way to interpret what Chris Rice just said. Share your thoughts down in the comments. How likely, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, oh yes, it's happening, 1 being no chance. How likely do you see Tony Stewart making a one-off Truck Series start? What track would you like to see Tony race? If the Eldora Dirt Derby was still a thing, maybe Stewart would have an unfair home field advantage, but that would be cool. Where would you like to see Tony or Kasey Kahne or anyone race for Ram next season? Ram, of course, working on some things behind the scenes. I love the driver lineup they've already announced of Justin Haley, Daniel Dye, and especially Brendan Queen. They've got their reality show, sounds like, in the works. News on that could be coming soon, so some fun, flashy headlines coming from the Ram camp here likely pretty soon. Thanks for watching this episode, folks. Just a quick one. Wanted to share my thoughts on this latest off-season rumor. I'll see you again real soon. Have a great rest of your afternoon, folks.